say and spell your first and last.
Mason Wilder, Masonwilder.
And then Mason, you're with an organization, one of the organizations that's hosting the Counterprotest, right? Do you have a title or anything, or the name of the organization that you want to?
Class, we don't really do like hierarchy, so we all just put in what we can.
Okay. And then what is the organization?
So we fight for student rights, teacher rights. This year we've been struggling a lot with like budget cuts, teacher cuts, so that's what we've been fighting up against. What's been going on with our school's leadership is what our main fight has been. They've been prioritizing real estate over teachers, so like that new Jordan Schnitzer building, which is going to cost us like $90 million. So what we're advocating for is for that money to be rerouted to our like teachers that have been fired, which has been like around 18 teachers. Our main obstacle has been our school's board of trustees. They have not been listening to students all year. They've been silencing student groups. Part of the reason is just to keep up with the order of things right now, along with like Trump's administration. We're pretty much doing the work for him by letting go of our teachers, and it's just overall disappointing.
So how does this cause, why are you involved in this cause with them, Riley Gaten speaking?
So TPUSA, they actually just ran a candidate for our school's leadership last week. The issue is they've been using trans people, they've been using black people, they've been using anybody they can as a scapegoat, when the real issue is the fact that like Republicans are destroying the economy right now. So they're gonna keep trying to reroute all people's concerns onto like trans people, like, oh, they're gonna do this, they're doing this. And Riley Gaines has been a major part of that. I mean, she's been in the White House recently. She's been pretty much keeping up this media facade. And I mean, I wouldn't say that she's like a main villain, but she's a pawn of the people who are doing this. It's like Turning Point is ran by Charlie Kirk, and they've been running a lot of like right-wing operations on campuses, trying to infiltrate their governments. So we're trying to get them off of our campus because we don't want their regressive ideology here.
And then what is the protest about today, and how are you involved?
So the protest today is trying to get TP off of our campus. We don't think PSU should be platforming them, especially in the Smith Ballroom, one of like the, I guess, more prestigious spots. So we're against our administration trying to allow them here. My role in this, just organizing this, helping with our group. We've collaborated with other groups in the past too, and they're helping us with this. So it's not just like one person's doing everything. It's a all-around effort from different groups. We don't want hateful ideology on our campus.
What about, the free speech element of it? You guys have a student group. Other student groups are allowed to, invite people to speak whatever, message is controversial. It's still, something that they're allowed to do on campus.
Yeah, I think free speech is a part of it. I think the real free speech that is being attacked right now is left-leaning speech. People on campuses are not scared to go outside if they're speaking up for Palestine and Gaza. Well, free speech, it protects, it shouldn't protect hate. That's the main thing. And of course, we're going to be respectful and nonviolent in our ways of countering this, them being here. But free speech is just a cover for hate speech that these people use.
How do what do you hope to accomplish with today's protest?
I hope to reach people who are sort of watching from sidelines and not knowing what's going on. They should know that these people are trying to influence what they're thinking online, what they're thinking on our campuses, and what they're thinking isn't going to be helpful. It's not helpful to us in the long run. It's all just trying to divide us, and we shouldn't be taking them seriously. I mean, to be honest, if you really pay attention to what they're saying, it's just a bunch of nonsense.
Are you protesting the event itself, or are you protesting against the university for holding the event?
A little bit of both.
Gotcha.
We don't think they should be platforming them, and we also don't think that they should be here.
And you mentioned keeping things peaceful, making sure everyone's safe. How do you plan to do that?
We're just going to be outside around here. We're not planning to fully disrupt the event, but if anybody is going to go in, they're going to be aware of our presence.
How so?
We'll be outside making noise.
And then what do you do to make sure things do stay peaceful? I mean, sometimes there might be one person and things might escalate because of one person. How are you, looking into that?
We're a group of peaceful protesters. We have not used any violence in the past. We have not seen any violence in our other events. Um, we just keep a good community. I mean, there's other events going on that we're routing people to, like playing volleyball. So it's not like we're just like out here trying to counter hate with hate. We're trying to create something positive for the community.
What's the message? What's the positive message?
Positive message is to support everybody. We shouldn't be having to tear people down to make a point.
Support everybody. How? Like, can you go into a little more detail on that?
I mean, we should not be hating on people, like trans people, for existing. Um, Simple as that.
And then, are you coaching people on what to do if things escalate or if they get into a confrontation?
We're not saying that things will go that far, so not at this moment.
Anything else you want to add?
I'd like to add that our school's leadership has been constantly ignoring us. We're trying to get people more involved in the Portland community, even outside, because we need help to make sure our school can keep running. I mean, we're facing budget cuts, we're facing budget deficits, but we keep seeing construction, so where is our money going? And whenever we ask that question, we just keep getting ignored by our school's leadership. So that's Ann Cudd, the Board of Trustees, and that includes Cheryl Manning. So she's been involved with lots of real estate deals, and we're just trying to make sure our school is run as a school and not as a corporation.
Were your organizations involved with the takeover of the library when the Gaza protests were happening?
No, we've actually just formed this year in October.
What are your thoughts on that situation?
I don't think it's relevant, but I would say that peaceful protests, they win over the masses, and then more like extreme, I guess, elements sometimes are needed for change.
Do you think that's going to happen in this protest?
I don't see a reason why I would.
Do you believe that, spray painting, things like that, graffiti, are acts of peaceful protest, or is that vandalism? Like, where do you classify that?
I think that it is less harmful than harm to an actual person, like these people are doing.
Would you condone that at a protest like this, for example?
I don't really have thoughts on it. I don't think people will end up doing that because we understand that people don't like when property is damaged. But from my opinion, I care more about people than property. But I won't say if, we're not going to spray paint the building. That wouldn't make a change in this case.
All right. Thanks so much. Felicia, do you have any questions? Okay. Thanks for your time. I appreciate it. Can you say and spell first and last and then
Yeah.
title?
Yeah, so it's Angel Venegas, ANGELVENEGAS, and the title is Regional Field Manager for the Leadership Institute.
Okay.
So,
And is the Leadership Institute affiliated with Turning Point USA?
no, so Leadership Institute is its own nonprofit that works to promote, conservatism and recruit and train student leaders across the country. We obviously work with like-minded organizations such as Turning Point and others to bring and highlight those conservative voices on campus. So,
How many different universities is Riley Gates going to be speaking at as a part of this?
So as a part of it, she has already gone to several universities from California out to the East Coast and whatnot. So this is going to be towards the tail end of the tour. She's going to do tonight here at Portland State and tomorrow at University of Washington, and then that'll be the end of the semester tour.
So why are you guys organizing this tour?
Well, the main reason we're organizing is because we believe that this is an important message to protect women's sports, especially in a state like Oregon. And so we just want to highlight those voices, those student voices. No, you're good. Okay. Ready to start?
Start from the beginning.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right. So, so the reason we're bringing Riley Gaines to campus is because, one, we believe on the message, which is to protect women's sports and all the female athletes across, not only the state of Oregon, but the country. That's what we're bringing around. And also we want to just bring that message and encourage other conservatives to speak out who might be afraid to write a paper on the topic or, bring up their opinion in class so that they're not so afraid. Riley Gaines brings that courage to campus saying, you're not alone. There's other people that believe in this message. And we bring it to highlight those voices and encourage them to speak out and make their opinions known when it comes to this matter. So,
Which other universities has she spoken at as part of this so far?
She has spoken at several universities across the country. I couldn't tell you the entire list. I know she has been to different places like the state of California, where she had like a big event, and she was previously held hostage at the university, about a year or two ago. So she came back to do that. She's obviously here in the University of Washington, and like I said, she's done these events across the country from the East Coast to the West Coast. So.
Do you worry at all that today might go, I mean, there's counter-protests planned and stuff like that. What do you think about how that's all going to play out?
Well, we've kind of grown accustomed to it. Everywhere we go, there usually is, but that just lets us know that we're fighting for what's right, we're standing up for what we believe is right. There's going to be counter-protests, but just like our free speech, we encourage free speech, So whether it's people that disagree, we always say, come to the front of the line, ask questions, because that's what we want to promote. Not only is it our message about protecting female athletes, but we also want to promote free speech. So there's going to be, protesters and everything, and they're more than free to express themselves. So we're totally fine with that. And we, work with the university and everything to make sure that we have the proper staff available for the event. So.
The university tells me you guys have security planned for this event. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. So if you look at the previous Rally Gains events, there have been a lot of times where she comes and, we organize the event. We have students present that want to hear her message, and there's protesters that try to shut down the event, whether it is peacefully or violently. Sadly, we've had a lot of those encounters, and so we just want to make sure we're safe. Obviously, safety is the first priority, and we want to encourage free speech, but make sure that not only Rally, but also the students and everybody else involved is safe. So.
Where did funding for this event come from?
So the funding came from the Leadership Institute. We are the ones that are bringing Rally Gains around to different universities to speak, again, for the same goal of putting the message out and encouraging other conservatives to speak. So.
Is it free for students to attend?
Yeah, so the event is free. Students can attend as well as community members. We always want to highlight students. That's kind of the point of coming to universities, right? So, students and community members are able to attend the event.
And what do they have to do to attend? It seemed like they have to fill out like a form or something. Are you turning anybody down?
No, so the form is really just a formality for two things. We want to make sure that we know who's in the room for safety reasons, right? And then second of all, also we just want to comply with university policy and everything. So, but the form's simple. It's just your name, saying you're attending the event, and we also have a no bag policy. So we also do the form to let them know that no bags are allowed in the room. So.
Have you turned anyone down for any of these events so far?
No, we have not turned anybody down, at least in my experience, the events I've held, because, again, we're open to everybody that wants to come in and have a civil discussion. Now, if they enter the event and they're disrupting the event, obviously they're breaking university policy, and that's a different conversation, right? But when it comes to signing up, we're very open about, we want to have discussions, especially with people that disagree. So we encourage everybody to come and attend.
How much does it cost to put something like this on? I mean, security itself is expensive, right?
Right. Well, obviously, there's a lot of logistical. I would say that's really the heaviest part, when it comes to organizing these events, working with university and local police and everything, But at the end of the day, what we're most worried about and we want to do is that we're being open on a conversation with university and police, because, like you said, it is a lot to take in when you have protesters and whatnot coming. So our main priority is that, making sure we're in constant communication of, this is our plan, this is what we expect, so that everybody's safe and everybody's in the loop of what's going on. So,
are you willing to share like a rough estimate of how much it costed to put this on?
I couldn't tell you. My main job is making sure that all the logistics here are going well, that we're tabling, that we're inviting people, that we have a check-in table, we have the room set up, and everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. So that's really my job and my priority here. So.
Gotcha. Do you think you guys could get back to me with that information?
Yeah, I'll connect with, you have Tamara. She's probably the one that could, she works with the Leadership Institute, and she's got more insight into those things. So.
Gotcha. And then have these been held at more conservative state universities or other things like that too, or is it mainly just focused on areas that this message is not as prominent maybe?
Well, we open it up to everywhere, Obviously, it depends on the student group, are they able to host the speaker, right, and whatnot. So it's not necessarily tailored towards one or the other, but we are open to both, obviously. So we'll do an event somewhere in, Tennessee or Alabama, for example. Just like with most speakers, they'll go really anywhere. Obviously, we kind of highlight these events a little bit more just because of the, hostility towards the message in the university and the state. And so, I would say, we're open to going to both everywhere. So there's not necessarily like a preference of like, this is where we want to go for this or that. So.
What do you expect from today?
I expect a lot of support. I think Portland and Oregon in general have been really needing that message, somebody to come out and speak out about it. So we're expecting a lot of supporters to come. Obviously, with the event being held at Portland State and just right here in downtown Portland, we expect a lot of protesters as well, But like I said, we're prepared, and we've been preparing for a long time for this. So we're excited, and we hope it'll be and expect it to be a successful event. So.
What are you telling members of the groups that have organized this and students and stuff like that? What are you telling them to do to sort of, deflect if there is any aggravation or discussion or anything like that?
Well, I tell them the same thing that they've done this whole time. The Leadership Institute, what we do is we train students on how to be good conservative leaders. And a good conservative leader is somebody that shares their opinion, shares their message, like we are doing with this event. But it's also somebody that is not going to look for anything that's not a conservative value. For example, we're not going to look for any altercations and everything. That's not our goal here. We want to stay put on what our goal is. So what I've been telling them is what they've been doing this whole time with tabling. We're always open to talking to people. Obviously, a lot of people disagree. That's kind of the goal of tabling. We want to talk to people about these issues because we believe that talking to them about it is important. So as far as what I've been telling them, like I said, they've already been doing it, and they've been doing a great job, which is being open about discussion, and always being the good person. At the end of the day, people are going to disagree. They'll say something mean to you or whatever, right? But at the end of the day, you have to stand for your conservative values, and we want to share that. We want to hear people out and see what they think, whether they agree or disagree. And if they disagree, great, we'll talk about it. If they don't want to talk about it, they can walk away. So they've been really good at tabling on our end. Obviously we've had a lot of pushback. We've had items stolen from our tables. We've had a lot of disruptions happen. Yeah. So while tabling, we have disruptions and everything. But the students have been steadfast in that idea of we are here to share a message respectfully. We want to be the good people at the end of the day, right? So if somebody disagrees, they're more than welcome to talk. If not, they can walk away. And so that's the principle we've established since beginning the group here. So.
How long have you been tabling? Is it just today? Were you doing this other days as well?
So the group has been tabling for at least a month or so leading up to this event. And like I said, the main thing is to promote the event and also talk about different topics, whether it be DEI or this issue of women's sports, right? And they've had a lot of tabling events. A lot of stuff has happened. There's been a lot of good discussion, but there's also been a lot of disruptions from protesters, whether they be students or what we've seen more violently, community members such as Antifa that will come to campus and disrupt the tabling event. And we kind of expect something similar for tonight, but obviously, we are a lot more well prepared for the event. So.
Are any of the student organizers willing to talk to us as well?
No, so we can only have LI staff talk for this. So.
Is there a reason for that?
No, not really. It's just we just want to make sure that we're, pushing our message together, and also we kind of coordinated previously as well as far as like who was willing to, talk and about what and all that. And so obviously Tamara is our point of contact, and she's the one. It kind of runs through her whenever we have any interviews or anything. So
the students don't want to talk, or you guys are just advising them against it?
Well, at the end of the day, they can talk if they want, but it was kind of agreed upon that, we're going to keep it to Tamara, who's the point of contact, just to keep things smooth. And also we want to just know who's going to be involved in everything. So for the event and everything, it's all gone through Tamara.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, of course.
Can you just say and spell first and last?
Yeah, my name is Brady Roland, BradyRoland.
And then what's your title?
I am president of ASPSU, which is our student government. It's the Associated Students of Portland State University.
And then talk to me a little bit about what's going on and what your thoughts are on it.
Yeah, it's been a crazy term. Essentially, it's a student government campaign season, and we just got the election results back last Friday. And who I was running against, I'm running for my second term. I was running for my second term as president, and I was running against the leader of Turning Point USA, PSU, the PSU chapter. And so things got a little bit dicey during our campaign, and it has been quite the term. But tonight, that same girl who I was just talking about, who I ran against, is bringing speaker, NCAA athlete who got 5th place, tied with a trans athlete, and cried about it and got a career out of it, and a foundation center to hate on trans women. But she's bringing that woman, Riley Gaines, to our Smith Memorial Student Union tonight, which is such a sacred place for me and for so many others, because it's where we meet. It's our student union. So It's where all the resource centers are other than the NASC, and it's so hurtful to know that Riley Gaines will be spewing whatever she wants tonight. And so there's a counter event because PSU never stays silent, and I love that, and that's why I came here, because that was just not respected where I come from. And so coming to Portland and coming to Oregon and PSU especially, I am so grateful to be at a place where we are challenging it, because we don't agree and we don't believe this hateful ideology that is being shared. And so essentially, there are 2 events that I will be attending tonight, 3 actually. 4. I'll be attending 4 events tonight, and the first is my inauguration, because I did get reelected as student body president. We got 74% of the vote. I mean, it was, like I said, a very dicey election, and we're at Portland State. You can kind of assume, like, I'm queer and all that, and so, I don't know. Essentially, I'll be getting inaugurated tonight for my 2nd term as president, and then right after that, I'll be just coming to the park blocks to see what's up, because it'll be before Riley starts speaking. Just want to check in with my friends and make sure they're safe, because I do know a lot of people who will be protesting tonight, and I know for a fact that there will be counteraction to them from the more fascist side of Portland, and I just want them to be safe. And so I just want to, like, make sure everybody who's coming out tonight, whether what side you're on, is just peaceful and remembers that at the end of the day, we have very big differences in our beliefs, but that doesn't mean we need to fight over it physically or be attacking each other at all, because at the end of the day, we're all human. So yeah, I hope that goes well. But right after that, I am going to the campus rec events with the Women's Resource Center, Queer Resource Center, and the La Casa Latina and Mecha event. So there's a Cinco de Mayo soccer tournament in the rec tonight, and then there's also a Pride Pink giant volleyball event tonight tournament. So I'm so excited. I love sports, but I never do them anymore. So I'm really excited to be there and support the resource centers who are putting this on, and the campus community who is showing up there instead of giving the attention to the side that so desperately needs it and wants it so that they can use it against us.
Are you more supportive of the protests or the sporting events that are going on? It sounds like the later, but I don't want to assume.
I'm neither supportive nor against the protest tonight. I think it's a great sentiment, but at the end of the day, like, if we give them the footage or the accusations against us that they need to federally hurt us financially, that would be the end of our education. So I understand why they're doing it, and I actually initially was planning one myself, but then my advisor just talked me down and reminded me, like, what's at stake. And so I think, while I'm very supportive of the events happening at the rec, because I support every student event, and I am not necessarily in favor or against the event happening tonight. Like I said, many of my friends are a part of it, and I just care for their safety mostly. But yeah, I just hope everyone's safe tonight, and while I won't be in attendance for the entire rally, I will still be there to make sure everyone's okay while I can. I just think that it's a sticky situation, and it's not like you can, I can't define the way I feel about the protest tonight, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, just come to the rec. Like, it's going to be a really great time, and I hope everybody knows that Portland State is and will continue to be a safe space for everybody, no matter what you believe, as long as it's not hateful, because here we draw the line at hate. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thank you,
Yeah, of course.
Christina.
Good luck. Have a good